Okay, it's our pleasure to introduce Aidan Gamble, who's joining us from Harare in Zimbabwe, about as far from California as you can be on the other side of the planet. But we were really intrigued with Aidan's story about Be My Eyes. And Aidan, I wonder if you could introduce yourself and tell us, how did you first learn about Be My Eyes?
Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, or good morning, wherever you are in this part of the world at this time, or wherever you watch this. I'm Aidan Gamble from Zimbabwe, Harare, a country in southern Africa. Definitely all the way quite far from California. If I'm correct, maybe about 16 hours by air. Be My Eyes is a really great is a really great app, if I can say so. I learned about Be My Eyes one day when I was doing my technology blog writing and my technology research, and Be My Eyes had popped up for the first time. This was in 2019, 2020, somewhere there. What had happened was I was sent a link by a colleague from South Africa who said, "Hey, check this app out." And basically, they explained to me about the app and how, us, a blind person like me, would get assistance from a volunteer. So I'm a very charismatic, or a go getter kind of person, as people have told me. So I was actually dressing up to go out, and I thought, let me try this on a social setting rather than a professional setting, because with an app at the first time, you're a bit wary of using such an app in a professional setting, be it work, be it, and then it lets you down. So I thought, okay, let me dress up and let me try and use this. And the person on the other end of the call, at that time, I think it was a person from India, or a person from, I think it was India or Pakistan. I'm trying to remember correctly, but yes, he was very helpful. He described to me the colors of what I was wearing, of which I already knew, but I just wanted to give him a test. And yeah, he told me that I was dressed perfectly and ready to go out. Um, it seemed a very trusty app the first time. And obviously, I went out and I left it there. I told a few people about it, and that was it. The second time, because I have a very rich IT background, I was working on an internet project, gathering research for a company who was doing disability inclusion. There were some fields on a web page that were not, I would say, accessible. And I thought, right, I'm really stuck. There's nobody around, because as a blind person, what we would normally do is whoever was around at the time, you just say, sorry, please help me. Can I borrow your eyes for 2 minutes? That is my famous line. Can I borrow your eyes for 2 minutes? And they'd come and they'd read it to me, and they would go away. But this day, it was a Wednesday. It was, I think, around the 18th of June. Very cold in our part of the world at this time, very freezing. It was about 2 years ago. And like I said, I needed help with a form field. And I managed to call Be My Eyes. And the person who picked up on the other end of the call was a gentleman, Mr. Simon Pitt. He is a sighted volunteer who had joined Be My Eyes because he had a keen interest in assisting visually impaired people. He basically helped me with the screen, and asked me where I am and what I'm doing. And then I shared to him that I'm in Zimbabwe. And he also shared to me that he was also too in Zimbabwe. Um, to really get into it, Simon Pitt owns one of the biggest payroll companies in Southern Africa. They do payroll and accounting, and audits and taxes. And when he linked with me, I got the chance to engage with him more and explain to him about visually impaired and what I can do. And of course, he wasn't the software that we use, because to most sighted people, the main question in this part of the world is, okay, you're blind, but how do you use a computer? How do you type? And he was really open to listening to the experiences, the software I've used. And jokingly, I said to him, you know what? You could do with a person like me in your organization. A few minutes later, I know at the time we weren't really meant to share personal details and stuff on Be My Eyes, as we advised not to. But he was so comfortable and friendly, that he sent me an email a few minutes later and said, please come over. to our offices just for a general interview and chat. So a couple of days later, I had went there just for a general interview and chat. I really wasn't thinking much of it. He ended up giving me a 3-month probational period. When the 3 months ended, he extended them by another 3 months. And now I'm the IT manager of the whole payroll operation, and I manage everybody's IT, including himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been at that company for about 2 years now?
Yeah, I've been there for almost. I'll be going on 3 years soon. And yeah, it was a obviously, they tested me. They wanted to see what I was capable of. They made me run the software we were using in front of everyone a couple of times. But yes, that is where I am today. On Monday, just to end this off, or just to add to it rather, I am actually going to I travel a lot. I'm taking a bus down to Bulawayo, which is the second largest city in Zimbabwe. I'm actually going to train people in Bulawayo on their mobile phones on the use of Be My Eyes.
Well, there are so many elements of the story I'm very curious about, but first this was only your second call on Be My Eyes, is that right?
Yes, it was my second call because I have a very independent streak, I must say. I think there's a lot of my colleagues who actually use Be My Eyes a lot more than I do. I have a very independent streak, so I was really stuck.
This is just a very moving story. And I wonder, in the blind community in Zimbabwe, have you heard similar stories, or is yours kind of a bit of a magic exception?
Well, you see, I have heard people that are starting to use my eyes, so that is one great thing. In terms of my story, no, it is a unique story. We are trying to build confidence within the blind community to really go out there, to put yourself out there. In this part of the world, I don't know if it happens that side. People worry like, oh, they're going to stare at me, they're going to look at me funny, they're going to say funny things, they're going to discriminate me if I go for an interview. I'm blind, the others are not. But I don't, we can't let those things get in our way because there'll always be something, there'll always be a small barrier. But that is why we have, apps like Be My Eyes, or a community like Be My Eyes, for example. And you just have to really be confident, put yourself out there. I mean, my first call on Be My Eyes, my heart was beating. I was nervous. I was like, oh, I wonder how I'm going to sound. Will he look at me funny? How's my camera? But things like that go through your head.
And as of today, there are 650,000 users of Be My Eyes worldwide. There are far more blind people than that in the world.
Yeah.
To the people in the world who haven't started using Be My Eyes yet, what would you say to them?
I would really say to the people who haven't started, you really need to try Be My Eyes out. It's a life changer. You don't know when and how it can change your life, but I can promise you it definitely will change your life. It can open doors. It can really take down barriers. And, just that interaction between yourself as a blind person and that volunteer, you're going to teach that volunteer something as a blind person that he or she never knew. So I would advise everyone who doesn't have it yet to really go for it.
Fabulous. Have you used Be My AI yet?
Be My AI is really cool as well. I have I use it mainly for photos, and it's quite descriptive as well. It's a lot better than a few other things that I've used. I was shocked because it's quite new, but it's quite good as well. Very, very handy. But a lot of people, like in IT work, they send you screenshots. Just there's a screenshot of the screen. I have an error on the screen. Here's a screenshot. Now, they forget sometimes, or some people don't always know that we're blind, and there's no need to even let them know. And then I would tap on share, I'd share it twice and run it with Be My AI. And yeah, the description comes out quite clear. I'm able to copy and paste it wherever I need.
Well, Aidan, on behalf of the whole staff of Be My Eyes, I want to congratulate you on winning this month's prize for a Can You Top This contest. One of the more moving ways that a simple conversation on Be My Eyes can result in employment, advancement, a job, and really great integration in your community. Thank you for sharing.